Short-faced bear versus southern white rhino. Who would win in a fight between these two beasts? Well, watch to the end to find out, since this is gonna be a very interesting video. First up, we have Arctodus simus, also known as the North American short-faced bear. This was one of the largest bear subspecies to ever exist. It roamed the grasslands and woodlands of North America during the Middle to Late Pleistocene epoch. Its diet is still up for debate on whether it was mainly carnivorous or omnivorous, but meat was most likely a large part of its diet. A typical male Arctodus simus could weigh in between 1,800 to 2,200 pounds, is around 5.5 feet to 6 feet tall on all fours, and could stand between 10 to 12 feet tall on its hind legs. When it comes to weapons, the North American short-faced bear had long, powerful forelimbs that had an arm span of 14 feet in length. At the end of the long arms were huge paws equipped with sharp claws that could deal a lot of damage with one strike. However, contrary to popular belief, the short-faced bear was a poor grappler when compared to modern-day brown bears and large big cats. The shoulder area muscles that are used to grapple are pound for pound more reduced compared to the grizzlies and other bears. This also meant that the short-faced bear performed poorly when controlling and manipulating large prey when grappling. A link will be in the description where I got that information from. So, the short-faced bear would be more of a striker, wanting to use its long arms to strike its opponent. Along with having long forelimbs, Arctodus simus had a really large skull filled with long, sharp canine teeth. Since the skull was large and had a pretty compact snout, its bite would be really strong. It's estimated that the short-faced bear's bite was capable of crushing through bones and was likely greater than 2,000 psi. So, if the bear manages to get in close to the rhino, it could rely on its powerful bite to deal some serious damage. When it comes to defense, the short-faced bear had thick fur covering its entire body and a large muscular physique. It likely had a lot of fat along with muscle, which could tank a lot of hits from its opponents. As for speed, Arctodus simus had long forelimbs that made it capable of achieving high speeds between 30 to 40 miles per hour in short bursts. Also, since the bear did have less mass compared to the white rhino, it would be more agile. It also would have more endurance and stamina compared to the rhino due to its body structure and way of life. When it comes to fighting knowledge, Arctodus simus competed against American lions, smilodons, wolves, and encountered animals like bisons, woolly rhinos, giant ground sloths, and mammoths. However, the short-faced bear did not hunt as much as other predators around it and likely intimidated other carnivores away from their kill due to his large physique. So, overall, the short-faced bear would have a decent amount of fighting knowledge and experience. Alright, let's move on to the southern white rhino. This beast mainly lives in the grassy plains of southern Africa and small parts of Kenya and Uganda. It's herbivorous and mainly eats grass and fruit. A typical male southern white rhino can weigh between 5,000 to 6,000 pounds, stands between 5 feet 10 inches to 6 feet tall at its shoulder, and is between 11 to 13 feet long. So, the rhino would have a considerable weight and length advantage, and they both would be around the same height if the bear is standing on all fours. However, if the bear is standing upright, it would have the height advantage. When it comes to weapons, white rhinos have two horns on the top of their snout, with its frontmost one being larger than its back horn, which averages around 2 feet in length. These horns are made out of keratin and are used to defend, intimidate, and attract mates. When rhinos fight, their horn is used more like a blunt force weapon to help them ram, push, and knock over their opponents. The white southern rhino also has a prominent hump around its neck and shoulder area, which are muscles that help give the rhino a very powerful upper body. As for defense, rhinos have dense, strong muscles and thick, tough hide that can grow up to 2 inches deep. So, it would be challenging for the short-faced bear to deal severe damage to the rhino. Since bears like to get up on their hind legs and strike when they fight, the rhino would have an overall lower center of gravity, making it have more stability. Also, taking into account that the rhino has a considerable weight advantage over the bear, it would have a better defense. As for speed, white rhinos are said to run between 25 to 30 miles per hour in short bursts, and in my opinion, it would be less agile and nimble compared to the bear. Rhinos are built to have explosive strength and do not have very good stamina and endurance. So, if the fight prolongs, it would be bad for the rhino. When it comes to fighting knowledge, white rhinos face off against lions, hyenas, and occasionally hippos and elephants. However, they do not encounter creatures resembling the short-faced bear. So, overall, the rhino would have a decent amount of fighting knowledge and experience, but not to the extent as Arctodus Simus. Alright, we have our stats. So, who would win in a fight between a short-faced bear and a white rhino? Let's say this battle takes place on an open field. I would say the white rhino would win majority of the time in a head-on fight. The rhino has a better defense and a considerable size advantage, making it able to take more damage in the fight. Also, the rhino has a lower center of gravity, giving it more stability, and a really powerful upper body with large horns on its snout, making it able to toss around the bear and knock it over. Overall, the short-faced bear's poor grappling skills would hinder it in a fight, since the rhino would likely charge in at the bear while tanking a couple claw strikes. If the bear is in biting range, it is also in range to get hit with the rhino's horns.